welcome again to Folio. Today we're going back in time, to last summer, when our attention was caught by an enterprise involving young actors, dancers, musicians and video makers in Suffolk. The idea behind the project, which was sponsored by the Suffolk Education Department and the British Council, was to send a group of young performers to Portugal to work alongside their Portuguese counterparts in a series of concerts, to meet them socially and to learn something of their customs and language. The available finance confined the group to 28 students and their tutors for a stay which lasted just a fortnight, but we were invited to join them, first when they were still rehearsing at their separate schools and colleges in Suffolk, and later for 2 days of their visit to Setúbal and Lisbon. As you'll see, we encountered a great deal of enthusiasm and found the standard of work very impressive indeed.
Different countries, both of which are in Europe. But it's early days, we'll find out. It's getting better.
And what do you think the chances are that such an event...
Well, I think that what's been a real pleasure and delight is the way that the Portuguese have received this.
For many young people today, the opportunities for foreign trips with schools and colleges have become almost a part of the regular curriculum. But Suffolk has turned what is normally a taking experience into a giving one. Arts advisor Patrick Redsell explains.
I work as an advisor for performing arts in Suffolk County Council's Education Department, and part of that work involves me in what goes on outside school, and it's there that this project in Portugal began, really, because we realised that there were quite a number of young people who were extremely gifted in the arts, who might well have an opportunity to come together, dancers, actors and musicians, video makers, and share that work with young people overseas in Portugal.
In selecting work to be performed abroad, dance was an obvious choice. The language of movement knows no frontiers, and Suffolk has been lucky to have had the enthusiasm of Cilla Dyke, its dance advisor, who's based in Ipswich. The dance group she set up, called Splinters, was already established and ready to apply themselves to a Portuguese programme.
We formed in May 1985. They're literally young people who are committed to dance in the community. They don't necessarily have a background in dance. In fact, one of the current members of the company, who'll see dancing later, didn't start dancing at all until last September. They have a commitment to performing and trying to get other young people interested. It's an alternative dance opportunity, if you like. I tried to do some research, actually, by questioning Patrick Redsell, who's coordinating the whole event. He gave us a number of clues as to where we might be performing, and then I tried to build a programme that would just about cover any eventuality, really. So it was really imperative that I found the right person to create the right sort of product. We've got a resident choreographer, Caroline Mummery, and she's created a number of pieces based on One Day for Life, the publication for cancer research. And she's created 2 lovely works, just stimulated by the photographs. We thought that was a really good perspective on Britain in 1987, which is when we started the negotiations for this project.
3, 2, 3, and 4, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, 7, 2, 3, 8, 2, 3. 4 is down, isn't it? 5 is up.
Meeting for rehearsal only once a week obviously creates limitations. But long before the trip, the work is already showing an unexpected polish. The omens for success are good.
2. We wanted a programme that wasn't just geared towards Portugal. It could be used in a Ipswich context, because that's the essence of the group. It's to go out into Ipswich and to say, look, you know, if you never thought of doing this before, this is your opportunity. You may not be able to join Splinters, but there are other areas and other groups that feed into Splinters, if you like. And so it's really to make other people aware of the opportunities that are available to them.
Further north, at Leiston High School, video making has become an extracurricular activity. This has been encouraged by Eric Wilcock, their Director of Communications.
I was approached, I think, because we have been working with video in the school for some time and seen it as an interesting and important dimension to the teaching here. And I was approached to see if this group could put together a video about life in Suffolk for an adolescent, which we could take across to Portugal to give the Portuguese some insight about English life in East Anglia.
It's of yeah, so you're going to have to...
We have done smaller projects in the school. We started with tape slide as a medium. In fact, one of the people, Kevin, in the project worked on a tape slide show in his 5th year last year, which was a very successful piece of work. And I suppose he's just now graduated to using video.
Yeah, so and what we ought to do is we don't want to do nothing too complicated, something basic, like we did when we first started.
Do the introduction thing.
Yeah, an intro to a school, their school. Just like we did some people walking into a school and how they set about that problem.
The Seagull Theatre at Lowestoft has been the centre for the Theatre and Leisure Studies course at Lowestoft College. It's here that Sandra Redsel teaches dance and drama. It's from the Seagull Theatre that the drama contributions to the Portuguese trip will come. Because of language difficulties, the play is being devised in such a way as to make words less important. Nevertheless, a story has to be told to audiences unfamiliar with English. Sandra Redsel explains her brief and her solution.
We were asked to put together about a half-hour presentation, which would be firstly purely entertaining. It's, as you know, to celebrate the Anglo-Portuguese alliance, so it's just a bit of fun, a bit of frivolity, something happy to celebrate that. But also, it should have a certain amount of educational aspect to it, because we will be playing to some people who will be learning English. So we hope that eventually they will be able to pick out certain key phrases, words, whatever, so that they're in fact learning a little bit of English whilst they're watching it. When I started off, I had wonderful ideas about trying not to use any mime at all. I mean, I don't know why. I must have been mad to assume we could perform to people who wouldn't speak English. Eventually, I realised that we'd have to actually capitulate and use quite a lot of mime. I decided on a theme, I think, which was simply that of a group of tourists going on holiday, probably to Portugal. That seemed fairly obvious and appropriate thing to do. The way we work is to work up through improvisation. That's a useful way of working because it allows the students to talk about what they know and what they've experienced. It also means that we can construct something that's very appropriate to the occasion.
There was in Ipswich an amateur dance company, and it's not the highly specialised, highly trained school of dance company, but any young person wanting to take part. So that was a focus for us there. There is a group of drama students in Lowestoft, again, not necessarily going to be actors, but enjoying doing drama. And then video making and the use of media education is developing in our schools. And we wanted to represent each of those aspects, and we really drew together what was already there rather than developing anything special, and put the emphasis on people who would work with Portuguese, who would not just do performances and disappear, but who had the capacity to be flexible and open and prepared to try out things.
The musical contribution to the programme was to come from 5 seasoned players of the Suffolk Youth Orchestra, under the direction of Philip Shaw, the county music advisor.
We're taking 5 musicians. It would have been marvellous to take the county orchestra. We can't this time, but I'm hoping to come back with an invitation for them for next time. So we've got 5 youngsters, a dozen or so dancers, and the actors and the video makers, and we'll see what happens. The dance group Splinters was already an identified group with a specific number involved. The actors have come from a particular course at the college. If anybody was to be flexible with numbers, it could be me, because in fact I could draw on anybody in the county, existing groups, or make a group up. So we waited to see how the numbers panned out, and then it became obvious that we wanted a smaller rather than a larger group. Play in the open air, we can play in a band, we can play all sorts of music. The instruments are easy and portable, and so we set on 5. And, we picked 5 of the key players from the county orchestra who get on well together, who are well-seasoned musicians, well-travelled, and we'll just do our thing.
And so, with much hard work behind them and many crossed fingers, it's next stop Portugal for 28 lucky young artists from Suffolk.
What's this then?
A real Italian meal needs a real Italian pasta sauce. Ragu, based on an authentic family recipe for 50 years. Ragu, it brings out the Italian in you.
Wherever you want, Detox wipes away bacteria.
Dinners on the table.
Detox cleans without leaving any smell, making surfaces safe and so clean you can eat your dinner off.
Now, who's the gravy?
Detox. Wipe away bacteria, wipe away doubt.
Modern, traditional, loose cover or designer. Choose a J-Rest suite direct from the factory and save up to 30%. J-Rest Upholstery, Hadley near Ipswich. The Waterfall Carvery, a choice of 3 roasts, fresh veg and superb salad. Treat yourself to a meal in the Waterfall Carvery at the Barking Fox near Needham Market.
The small port of Setúbal, 30 miles south of Lisbon on the Portuguese coast, was the host community for the party of students from Suffolk. It's an ancient and beautiful town, with people friendly and gentle, even shy. An accident of history in which England and Portugal allied themselves against Spain has produced a special relationship which lasts to this day. English people are welcome here as they are almost nowhere else in Europe. Setúbal's castle of San Filipe, overlooking the town, provided the venue not only for the programmes performed by the Suffolk students, but also the living history production put on by local people for anyone who cared to drop in.
It began because the basis of the project in living history in this castle was an opportunity to commemorate a period in the 17th century when Portuguese and British were joining in some activities, trade activities. It seemed sensible to try and build on that and do something in the 20th century to get a variety of young people to come and work with a variety of Portuguese young people.
The idea of living history as a teaching method is not new to England. It arrived first, though, in Brazil, and then in Portugal through Patrick Redsell's encouragement and contacts. Whether you understand the language or not, watching such a project is enjoyable and entertaining.
Solid.
Signora, stia paziente.
The drama being performed with great enthusiasm and realism by the local population depicts incidents in the town's history 300 years ago, aspects of social, economic and political life, including a customs dispute with an English sea captain. In contrast, high up on the castle battlements overlooking Setúbal Bay, the Suffolk dancers are busy preparing for an evening performance. Attitudes are professional, despite the heat and the rough ground. For dancers, the risk to limbs and feet in such rehearsal conditions is very real, but the show must go on.
Well done. Good. And 4. Really try. Focus. And over. Good. And. Now use the back. Use the back. Use the back. Good. And through. Stop. So the air goes underneath.
Such is the spirit among the students that adverse rehearsal conditions are treated with good humour. Scylla Dyke.
Finding places to rehearse is quite a problem. We actually did all our warm-up this morning on the corridor, the hotel corridor, which I think caused rather a great amusement, and then we did a run-through on the lawns outside of the hotel. Okay, and just go! Sharp, sharp feet, Nick. They're in fantastic spirits, actually. The warm-up and actually bringing together in the movement helped me to focus in. Tomorrow in Lisbon, we're performing in the courtyard of one of the British Council buildings, and then we've got something really special in store for in the afternoon. We're going to invite young Portuguese people in who perhaps danced or perhaps might not have danced, and we're going to do a workshop where we actually create a new work for the whole company, and that includes Splinters as well as the Portuguese young people, and then we're going to perform it. We've got 2 hours to do it. So I'm really excited about that, actually.
On another part of the battlements, the video group from Leiston are busy making a documentary record of the visit to show on their return to Suffolk. Is it fun or work? Michael Watley.
It's like a holiday, but we're working hard at the same time. Take yesterday as a fairly typical day. We came to this castle and the other local castle and got some area shots. Also, we visited the local youth centre. We do a lot of work with photography, video, theatre, dance, that type of thing, for young people in the area of Setúbal. And we were asking them about their work. We did 1 or 2 interviews. And in the afternoon, it was mainly working with the English groups here, the actual rehearsals, interviewing some of the group leaders on their impressions. And I have to do an awful lot of editing, I think, so. But it's quite pleased. The weather's nice, so it's a lot easier, a lot nicer than doing it in England.
The experience of making music on top of a castle under a blazing sun is not something that happens every day of the week for anyone, let alone 5 young people from East Anglia. Philip Shaw.
It's something that many of them have never done before, and they would never ever do again. I mean, all the money in the world and all the practice holidays in the world actually don't give it the insight the way that we are doing it. With people, with performance, with excitement, all those things.
Right, off you go.
Between performances, rehearsals with the drama group from Lowestoft continue. Sandra Redsell.
Since we've been here, we've done 3 performances.
in a local high school. First performance was a bit woolly, second performance was good, and the third performance went down a bit, but that was because everybody was tired by the third one. But it seems to have been well received, and the young people we played it to seem to understand it, so it's working well. The thing that we've learned from it, though, is that in one of the scenes where a girl goes into a shop to try to buy something and is constantly stopped by the person in the shop by slapping her and so on, that this actually goes home to the Portuguese. We didn't realise this when we did it, but apparently this happens quite a lot in shops. They don't really like people to touch things, so they're quite careful about how they have to behave in the shop. Now, we didn't know that before we started, and so that got a lot of laughs, not for the reasons that we actually anticipated ourselves. And again. Right, go on, round there, follow after her, pursue her, turn around, hand on the face. 1, 2, please. Down you go. In again, Nicky.
And so, on a windy and unexpectedly chilly summer night, the open-air concert on top of Setúbal Castle gets underway, with an audience of Portuguese townsfolk. A local industrial dispute has reduced the available light to just one lamp. But in spite of this drawback, both the performance and its reception glow with enthusiasm. The purpose of this trip is not just to perform, but to experience a different culture. So what impressions have been gained so far?
There's two opposites, I think. The first is the Portuguese exuberance and the way that we've been received as guests, and how much we've had an opportunity to listen to some music with them, eat food, sing songs with them, and do those sorts of things. The second thing, which the performers have described, is audiences being shy to ask questions and join in after the performance.
The Portuguese as a race may be self-effacing, but their dancers, who are making their own contribution to this concert, display as great a talent as their English visitors. The following day, the British Council in Lisbon invites all concerned to a garden party, to be followed by a series of workshops conducted by the Suffolk groups for local students. Understandably, the conversation centres on the previous evening's show.
The biggest problem in our performance was the music, because there wasn't any lighting on the tape board.
Something happened to the lighting, so Sandra couldn't see the tape.
And most of our cues come from the tape.
Yeah. There's a lot of waiting about for cues to come and stuff like that. But we ad-libbed. It's hard to know how the Portuguese are going to take the play anyway, because we don't know how much English they know. And whether the sense of humour is the same.
Yeah.
And it is. And it is, yes. Remarkably. They liked it anyway. They liked it.
This getting to know you party and the workshops to follow aren't the only contribution the British Council have made. Some of the finance too has been supplied. Why?
The work of the British Council is very largely in the field of relations between people. Visits to Britain by overseas contacts of the Council, visits to the overseas countries from Britain, constitute about a half of our work, or take up about a half of our budget. So this kind of trip, provided it fits in with our overall policy, is very much the kind of thing that the Council is interested in supporting. The youth programme particularly is one which interested us because we've recently set up a youth exchange protocol with the Portuguese government, and so the idea of an arts programme carried out by youngsters from Suffolk fitted in very well with our policy in Portugal.
The video group from Leiston is quick off the mark to invite Portuguese students to help with their documentary production.
We are coming to the end of the afternoon event. How well do you think the day has gone so far?
I think it's gone very well. We've been very fortunate with the weather. We've had about 300 to 350 people come here. And as you can see, we've had marvellous opportunities for Portuguese and British young people to meet each other. You can hear the laughter and the clapping. So I think it's gone very well indeed.
To foreign ears, it must be odd to catch the words of an English nursery rhyme enthusiastically rendered from the rooftops. But Philip Shaw's music workshop is now underway with the help of an assorted bunch of musicians and 3 blind mice.
3 blind mice. Okay, I missed a line out. Did ever you see such a thing in your life? Did ever you see such a thing in your life?
It's obvious to an onlooker that this kind of activity involving British and Portuguese in a common exercise has immense advantages over the usual school trip abroad. This is a learning experience at several different levels for both sides.
They all run after the farmer's wife to cut off their tails with a carving knife. Did ever you see such a thing in your life as 3 blind mice?
Okay, try. And
3 blind mice, 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 see how they run, see how they run.
However shy they are, the Portuguese youngsters come and they stay. Mystified, perhaps even bewildered at times, but the Suffolk groups act like a magnet. They're making life fun.
You do each one twice, each tune, each song twice. You got me 3? 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Take out of it. All right, can we start over there? So, Andrew, off you go. Open whatever size box you want.
In a room downstairs, Sandra Redsell is running a mime workshop. No language problem here. The idea is that you have an imaginary box, open it, and discover an object which is identified purely by gesture. It's a simple form of acting which anyone can enjoy.
The thing that's been very gratifying has been the way in which everyone has been able to participate very informally. The Portuguese like doing things quite impromptu and informally. So people joined in the workshops, they did some drama, lots of people did some dance, other people joined in the music workshops. Everybody has, I think, had a good time. And we've had a turnout of more than 400 people, which, if you're looking for a yardstick of success, is a fairly good rough and ready yardstick how many people come. And we're very pleased.
Okay, keep going. And back to the beginning. Ready? Don't touch me. I'm a and shake. Circle killer. Shake.
We expected this to be a prototype. We thought there might be all sorts of snags and problems with the first activity, but I must say it's gone very well indeed, and we hope that there will be many more exchanges of this kind.
All right, let's just walk. 2, 3. Conversation.
You can't even finish it. You're talking a lot, but you're not saying.
We always intended that there would be some performances to Portuguese audiences so they could see who we were. But we always believed that the most important thing were the things we did with the young Portuguese people. And as time went on, we were able to visit schools where we were able to not only do workshops with them and give performances, but also share social occasions. When they took us shopping, they took us and showed us their community. At the British Council, we had a chance to make videos together, to teach and work together in that sort of way. So a great deal of exchange of ideas and friendship. And if we can establish a permanent relationship between the two countries to this corner of East Anglia, we'll be pleased and satisfied.
As the day draws to an end in Lisbon with yet another exciting performance by the Ipswich-based Splinters group, it's time for the Folio camera to take their leave too. In common with everyone on this adventure, we thoroughly enjoyed our trip. It seems fitting, therefore, to let the Portuguese themselves end our programme. Good night and boa noite.